Oh, please, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Now, come on, let's get serious.
So everything is good for you and Patti.
Let's get serious.
Did Aretha Franklin really hate someone more than anyone else? Many people wonder about the Queen of Soul's feelings. In her life, Aretha faced many ups and downs. She had famous feuds and strong friendships. But did she have someone she truly despised? What made her feel this way?
You know, everybody got their little knickknacks going on. Dionne's gonna speak her mind, and she's gonna tell the truth. Rhea's gonna be sensitive and cause a whole lot of riffraff.
Could it be because of past betrayals or personal conflicts? These questions make us curious about Aretha's life and her emotions. As we dig deeper, we will explore her relationships and try to understand if there was really someone she hated more than anyone else. What do you think? Let's find out. Starting with her feud with Tina Turner.
And the Grammys made the mistake of calling Tina Queen. You know about it. Ooh, you know who was there? You know who was there? Aretha. Aretha. That big was pissed.
Aretha Franklin, known as the Queen of Soul, had a powerful voice and a fierce personality. But her relationship with fellow singer Tina Turner was complicated. Her issues with Tina felt more personal. Aretha was confident and not afraid to defend her place in the music world. If she thought someone was disrespecting her, she wouldn't hold back. The tension between Aretha and Tina reportedly began before Tina's divorce from Ike Turner in 1978. There were rumors that Aretha might have had an affair with Ike, which could have caused resentment on Tina's part. However, things really escalated at the 2008 Grammy Awards. When Beyoncé introduced Tina as the Queen, it was said that Aretha, watching at home, was furious.
Ladies and gentlemen, stand on your feet and give it up for the Queen!
In response to this, Aretha made a public statement. She said, "I am not sure of whose toes I may have stepped on or whose ego I may have bruised," but she called Tina's introduction a cheap shot. Tina quickly fired back, saying that Aretha always had a big ego. Aretha then hit back harder, saying that Tina was in a different class, and she didn't think Tina should use the press to sell tickets to her shows. Aretha also expressed how she had always been supportive of other artists, unlike some others. This feud didn't end there. In 2018, it was reported that a sick Tina was planning her own grand funeral, wanting it to be bigger than Aretha's when she passed away. A source claimed that Tina wanted to outshine Aretha one last time. Even though Tina once said she was okay with the idea of dying, it was clear she didn't want to be overshadowed by Aretha's legacy. For Aretha, her dislike for Tina seemed to come from a refusal to share her title as Queen. Aretha had worked hard to earn her status in music, and she wasn't about to let anyone take that away from her. She felt that Tina didn't know who she really was. Their feud showed the intense competition and harsh realities of the music industry. She had a reputation for not being kind to other artists, often throwing subtle insults their way. Both women were incredibly talented, and their disagreements highlighted how tough it can be at the top of the music world. Aretha Franklin and Tina Turner were more than just singers. They were two powerful women who fiercely defended their legacies.
Patti LaBelle.
No, that was ridiculous. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard. I've never heard of anything more ludicrous.
And next we have Aretha Franklin and Patti LaBelle. For decades, people have wondered about their friendship. Were they friends, or was there something more complicated going on? Even though both women publicly said they respected each other, rumors about their relationship lingered. One big moment that raised eyebrows happened in 2014 at the Women of Soul concert at the White House. Patti LaBelle reached out her hand to greet Aretha, who just walked by without saying anything or making eye contact. This moment went viral, with many people creating memes and videos discussing what happened. Some fans saw it as a clear snub. However, Patti later downplayed the incident. In an interview, she said she didn't think anything unusual happened. She even joked that she didn't know who Aretha was, saying, "I just know she had on a green coat." Despite this denial, there were more moments that made people wonder about their friendship.
Mr. President, Mrs. Obama, I would like to say thank you for the 5 years that you've been in this wonderful house called White House.
In 2016, after Patti's sweet potato pies became a big hit at Walmart, Aretha announced her own food line. Many saw this as a way to compete with Patti. Aretha even made a cheeky comment, saying, "Miss Patty's going to have to move that pie to the side." Again, both women tried to downplay any conflict, with Patti saying, "I haven't had beef with anyone." They often praised each other's talents, but the warmth was sometimes missing. Aretha announced she would retire from performing due to health issues. Patti expressed sadness about this. She called Aretha "my girl" and said it would be hard not to see her perform again. This showed that, despite their ups and downs, Patti had genuine feelings for Aretha. The friendship became even stranger in 2014 when a fake news story claimed that Patti attacked Aretha after a disagreement. The story was obviously a joke, but Aretha didn't find it funny. She quickly sued the website for $10 million, saying the story hurt her reputation. Patti continued to insist that she and Aretha had a positive relationship. She remembered how Aretha chose her to sing "Ain't No Way" at the Kennedy Center Honors in 1994, showing their bond.
Aretha, I love you. Ain't no way.
Patti often mentioned that any tension between them came from Aretha's fiery personality, especially when she wasn't feeling well. Patti made it clear that Aretha was her biggest inspiration. Even after Aretha passed away in 2018, their complicated friendship lived on.
Both of those girls, forever and a day. I know my sister Dionne, it ain't nothing to her. Okay. It ain't nothing. Now, Ree is a little bit different.
Aretha Franklin and Dionne Warwick were two of the biggest stars in music during the 1960s. Aretha had a powerful and soulful voice that made songs like "I Never Loved a Man" and "Chain of Fools" famous. Dionne, on the other hand, was known for her smooth pop style and hits like "Walk On By." However, behind the scenes, a fierce rivalry was brewing between these two music divas. The rivalry took a turn when Aretha decided to cover Dionne's hit song, "I Say a Little Prayer," in 1970. To make it even more interesting, Aretha had Dionne's own cousin, Whitney Houston, sing backup vocals for her version. This move was Aretha's way of showing Dionne who was the true queen of music. Aretha's version of the song became a huge hit, climbing to the top 10 on both the pop and R&B charts. To make matters worse, even Burt Bacharach, the songwriter behind the original, said Aretha's version was better than Dionne's. This public comment must have hurt Dionne deeply. As time passed, the tension between Aretha and Dionne grew. By the late 1970s, Aretha's career was slowing down while Dionne continued to find success. Music mogul Clive Davis signed Aretha to his label, Arista Records, in 1982. He helped Aretha make a big comeback with her album Who's Zoomin' Who in 1985. However, there was a twist. Dionne was also on Clive's label. This rekindled Aretha's competitive spirit and jealousy. A friend even said that Aretha felt like she was sharing the spotlight with Dionne, which made her unhappy. Things got even more complicated when Clive introduced Whitney Houston, Dionne's cousin, as his new rising star. Whitney was young and talented, and Clive was excited to promote her. Aretha felt threatened by Whitney's talent, especially since Whitney was connected to Dionne. Aretha's sister Irma pointed out that Aretha often had issues with other female artists. She believed Aretha wanted to eliminate any competition.
Everybody got their little knickknacks going on. Dionne's gonna speak her mind, and she's gonna tell the truth. Rhea's gonna be sensitive and cause a whole lot of riffraff.
Despite the rivalry, Dionne spoke highly of Aretha in public, which only added fuel to the fire. The feud bubbled over again in 2012 during Whitney's funeral. Dionne called herself Whitney's godmother, which made Aretha furious. Aretha accused Dionne of lying, claiming she only met Whitney as a child and never agreed to be her godmother. In a heated interview, Aretha said, "We've never been friends, and I don't think Dionne has ever liked me." The relationship between these two music legends seemed destined to be filled with conflict. Even after Aretha passed away in 2018, Dionne expressed her sadness and called Aretha her friend. However, many saw this as another jab, considering their complicated history.
Oh, please, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Now, come on, let's get serious.
So everything's good between you and Patti.
Let's get serious.
Aretha was also famous for being very competitive. Over the years, she didn't take kindly to anyone she thought was trying to step into her spotlight. This strong sense of competition often led to clashes with other famous artists and some sharp comments about younger singers. For example, Gladys Knight, another soul legend, shared a story about Aretha. At the Grammy Awards, Aretha walked right past her without saying a word. Gladys felt that this was a clear sign of disrespect. Aretha loved to show off her status, even to other respected artists in the industry. Aretha's bluntness didn't stop there. She also made dismissive comments about newer pop stars. When she heard that Mariah Carey would be making $18 million as a judge on American Idol, Aretha questioned whether that was true, sarcastically asking if the source was Mariah's husband. This shows how she often looked down on younger artists and questioned their success. Even famous singers like Celine Dion weren't safe from Aretha's competitive nature. During the VH1 Divas Live special in 1998, both women sang Aretha's hit, "You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman." While performing, Aretha took over the song, singing the part meant for Celine. Celine responded by singing right alongside her, leading to a powerful vocal showdown. It was clear that both artists wanted to shine, even during a collaborative performance. In a 2014 interview with the Wall Street Journal, Aretha shared her thoughts on modern pop singers. She gave mixed reviews, offering only lukewarm praise for Adele, calling her a good singer, and for Alicia Keys, saying she was a good writer and producer. However, when asked about Taylor Swift, Aretha could only muster a backhanded compliment about her fashion, saying, "Okay, great gowns, beautiful gowns." This remark became a viral moment, showing how she could be both critical and dismissive of her peers. Aretha even brushed off Nicki Minaj without any hesitation, simply stating, "I'm going to pass on that one." This lack of respect for newer artists showed how protective she was of her title as the Queen of Soul. No matter who it was, young stars or longtime contemporaries, very few could escape Aretha's sharp comments if she felt they were a threat to her position. Aretha Franklin's immense talent and legendary career were undeniable, but her competitive spirit often led to cold shoulders, subtle jabs, and bold insults aimed at anyone she saw as competition. While she earned her place at the top, her fierce desire to stay there sometimes overshadowed the respect she had for other artists. Despite her talent, Aretha made it clear that she was always watching her throne, ready to defend it against anyone who dared to challenge her.
I just don't wanna stop. Too much, never too much, never too much.
Aretha teamed up with Luther Vandross for her comeback album, Jump to It. Luther was a huge fan of Aretha and was thrilled to work with her. However, their first phone call did not go as he expected. Aretha introduced herself as Miss Franklin and called Vandross Mr. Vandross. This formal tone surprised Luther because he had grown up listening to her warm and friendly music. He later shared with biographer David Ritz that the Aretha on the phone felt different from the Aretha he admired on the radio. Things didn't get better when they met in the studio. Luther wanted to give Aretha some suggestions on how to sing certain parts of the song. However, Aretha was not open to his ideas. In her autobiography, Aretha. From these roots, she expressed her feelings about this. Luther wanted to tell me how to sing when it was me whom he had learned much about how to sing. Aretha believed if Luther thought he could do it better, he should just sing it himself. The tension came to a head during a disagreement over the introduction to Jump to It. Aretha asked Luther, "Who's the one with the most hits here?" implying that her success should give her the final say. Luther quickly replied, "But who's the one with the latest hit?" This response seemed to upset Aretha, and she stormed out of the conversation. Despite these clashes, both singers had respect for each other's talent. Aretha later said, "We have a lot of mutual respect for each other. Even when we are not talking, we are still cool."
I miss you like crazy. I miss you like.
Now let's talk about Natalie Cole, the daughter of the legendary Nat King Cole. Natalie entered the music scene with great success, but she faced tough comparisons to Aretha. The media suggested that Natalie might take the Queen of Soul title away from Aretha. In 1976, Natalie won the Grammy for Best R&B Female Vocal Performance, breaking Aretha's 8-year winning streak. This made the rivalry even more intense.
A nominee for Best New Artist, ladies and gentlemen, Natalie Cole.
Natalie's first meeting with Aretha did not go well. At an industry banquet, Natalie approached Aretha, but Aretha gave her an icy stare and turned away. Natalie was hurt by this encounter and said it took her weeks to recover. She admired Aretha and couldn't understand why Aretha seemed to be against her. In her words, "I give her the highest respect then, now, and always." On her part, Aretha was not happy about the constant comparisons. In a 1977 interview, she said, "It's easy for a singer to sometimes pick up on another singer's sound, but that's just copying. It's really a compliment that she sounds like me." Aretha felt she had worked hard for her success and believed that no one could take that away from her.
And there was a group called the Flamingos, that big group at that time. And my sister and I were big fans of the Flamingos.
Now her sisters were also not spared from the drama. I am talking about Irma and Carolyn. They were all talented singers, and they grew up in a musical family led by their father, C.L. Franklin. They often performed together, but as time went on, each sister wanted to make a name for herself. Aretha's sisters had their dreams, but sometimes Aretha's big personality took the spotlight. One big moment was when Curtis Mayfield wanted Carolyn to sing for the soundtrack of the movie Sparkle in 1976. When Aretha heard about this, she stepped in and took over the project. Irma later shared that she thought Aretha should have let Carolyn sing those songs first. Then after Carolyn, Aretha could have done her own recording with Curtis. Irma felt that Aretha's actions were unfair. She wished her sister had allowed Carolyn to shine. Irma had her dreams too. She was excited about a chance to sign with Epic Records, a sister label of Columbia. This deal would let her work with different producers and create her own style. Irma thought Aretha would be happy for her, but instead, Aretha was not supportive at all. Irma recalled how Aretha threw a fit when she found out. Aretha believed that having too many Franklin sisters in the music world would confuse fans and hurt her career. This showed that Aretha often put her own success above her sisters, even though they were all talented. These family moments reveal the tricky dynamics that can happen when everyone is in the same industry. Aretha's desire to be on top sometimes blocked her sisters from reaching their own dreams. It was a complicated situation because they loved each other, but also competed against each other. Aretha was not just the star of the family, she was also the oldest sister. This often meant she felt responsible for guiding her sisters. However, her guidance sometimes came off as controlling. She wanted to protect her image and her career. But this also meant Irma and Carolyn sometimes felt overshadowed by Aretha's fame. As the years went by, the conflicts continued. Aretha and her sisters worked together sometimes, but they also had their share of disagreements. Aretha's focus on her career made it hard for her to see her sisters' needs. They all wanted to be successful, but the tension in their family was tough to handle. In Aretha Franklin's later years, her relationships with her sisters remained complex. Despite their struggles, the love and bond they shared as sisters were always there. They had grown up together, learned music together, and shared dreams. But the fight for their place in the music world made things difficult.
And your dad was a minister?
Unfortunately, I was not. I don't think one should be pushed into something that you don't really want to do. It could have been disastrous.
Yep.
Aretha Franklin was an amazing singer and songwriter. Many people call her the Queen of Soul. She was born on March 25, 1942, in Memphis, Tennessee. Aretha grew up in a loving family filled with music. Her father, C.L. Franklin, was a famous preacher and singer. He often had music in their home, which inspired her love for singing. When Aretha was just a little girl, her family moved to Detroit, Michigan. Aretha started singing in church when she was just a child. Her powerful voice caught everyone's attention. She sang gospel music, which is a type of music that praises God. She learned a lot from the church, and her gospel roots helped shape her singing style. Aretha's career took off when she was a teenager. At 18, she signed a record deal with Columbia Records. Her first few albums were not big hits, but she didn't give up. In 1967, she switched to Atlantic Records, and that's when her career really took off. Her first big hit was I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You. This song made people realize how talented she was. It was powerful and filled with emotion, just like Aretha herself. After that, Aretha released many famous songs, including Respect, Chain of Fools, and Think. The song Respect became her anthem. She sang it with such passion that it became a symbol for women's rights and empowerment. When people heard her sing Respect, they felt inspired. Aretha's music was not just about love, it also spoke about strength and equality. Throughout her career, Aretha Franklin won many awards. She earned 18 Grammy Awards, which are like the Oscars for music. In 1987, she became the first woman to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Aretha was not just a singer, she was a trailblazer for women in music. She showed that women could be strong, talented, and successful. Aretha's personal life was not always easy. She faced many challenges, including the loss of her father at a young age and struggles with relationships. She had 4 children, and being a mother was important to her. Despite her challenges, she continued to sing and inspire people all over the world. In the 1980s and 1990s, Aretha continued to make music and perform. She worked with other famous artists, like George Michael and Whitney Houston. Her voice was still powerful, and she was always a crowd favorite. Aretha performed at many important events, including President Barack Obama's inauguration in 2009. She sang My Country, 'Tis of Thee, and it was a beautiful moment that showed her love for her country. Sadly, Aretha Franklin passed away on August 16, 2018, after battling cancer. Her death was a great loss for the music world. People all over the world mourned her passing and celebrated her incredible life and career. Aretha left behind a legacy of powerful music that continues to inspire new generations. Her voice and songs remind us of the importance of love, respect, and standing up for what is right. Aretha Franklin will always be remembered as the Queen of Soul. Her music touched hearts and changed lives. She taught us that everyone deserves respect, and her songs will live on forever.